first thank you guys all for being here today and taking time out of your day to be here. And so I first joined Civitas because my older sister was in the program and she was always talking about it and like talking with my mom, and they'd listen to NPR together on the way to school. I honestly didn't know, I didn't understand what they were talking about. And so, I don't know, I just kind of like envied how smart she was and I wanted to like gain that smartness, so I joined Civitas. And at the time, I didn't know much about the program and I didn't know the kind of impact it would make on my life either. It has allowed me to form my own belief system and create my own values. And it has also just taught me to like value the point of others and just like respect the point of others instead of like coming from the place where like my point is always right, because I'm really stubborn, so I like to think my point's right a lot. And so it also just like led me to discover a lot of interesting like books and news articles, and like I really valued the discussions we had with my class. But the most rewarding aspect was that it allowed me to reach out of my comfort zone. Socratic circles, class discussions, presentations, it forced me to like branch out and to become more involved in class. So having a community service requirement also had me branch out more because I was just getting involved in the community in a way I'd never done so. And because of this, I've just had a greater sense of responsibility and connectedness with my community. So my freshman year of Civitas, there's 5 classes, and I'm just going to go in order talk about them. So my freshman year of Civitas, I was Introduction to Political Science and State and Local Government. Before Civitas, I didn't know much about how our government was ran. I know we had a governor and the Senate, but I didn't really like know what they were, or like what their power was set up in the system. But after taking these classes, not only did I understand the way it was run, I could discuss it and debate the subject as well. State and local government helped me develop my political beliefs and take stances on issues. We did these things called congresses and classes, which were like debates on hot topics and like just like basically anything going on in the world, but mainly the United States and California. And that's where like the basis of my political beliefs were formed. During 2012, which was the year I was a freshman, it was during the election season for California. And I volunteered at Dr. Ami Bera's campaign, and I canvassed local neighborhoods, and I called ballotters, and I did all that, trying to persuade people to vote for Dr. Ami Bera, and that's just like where I found my political voice. And then throughout the years, I've really only had the opportunity to expand upon it. As a sophomore, I took speech and communications and international relations. I've always struggled with like public speaking. It freaks me out a little bit. And so this like kind of helped me like rein in the issue a little bit. I still struggle with it, but it definitely helped me be a little bit less fidgety in front of the audience. And then in international relations, the class was set up like a mock United Nations. I had a country, it was called Mali, it's in Africa, and it was like ridden with a lot of political turmoil. It still is. And it just gave me like a new perspective into current international affairs, just because as like an American, I kind of think of everything from, I guess, a more privileged standpoint. But when I'm thinking about it from a more like, when I was thinking about it from like a small country like Africa, I just felt really helpless. And yeah, so that was just, gave me a new perspective, and it expanded upon my history class. And I just really found this class the most interesting. It made foreign affairs interesting and captivating and also enjoyable. Junior year, I took political philosophy, and it just like, it tested my brain's limits like I didn't know. I questioned whether the sky was blue, if life was real, the chair I was sitting on even existed. And at the end of the semester of junior year, the class just sat down for a Socratic circle, and we talked about God and religion. And these are like really, these debates can get heated, but in a place like Civitas, it was just very like civil. There wasn't really any arguments on like who was right. It was just everyone like, I felt comfortable expressing their ideas and their opinions. So Civitas just really creates like an atmosphere of understanding and consideration and acceptance among peers. And that's not like a normal feeling in a high school class or like even anywhere. So that's like one reason why I really like Civitas. And then Civitas has given me priceless learning experiences, not only in the classroom, but in the community. Throughout my time in Civitas, I've had the opportunity to volunteer at many organizations, But the place I enjoyed volunteering at most was the St. John's Women and Children's Shelter. It's where I fulfilled most of my volunteer requirement. So I worked in the donation center, and it's not only do they collect donations, but they have like a small boutique for the residents, which has like clothes for like work and like court hearings and just stuff like that. So I organized that, and I became really involved, and I got to know the women, and I just was like really inspired by their stories of like resilience and strength. A lot of them come from abusive relationships, and so they don't have it easy, and Civitas motivated me to go above and beyond just community service and a volunteer like requirement. I started getting my friends and family involved. So like last year on Thanksgiving, like me and my family handed out meals to the homeless. Like we just homemade like turkey and like mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie, and we like went downtown to where like a lot of the homeless people are, and we handed out meals. And then I've also got my friends involved because I got my friends involved by we made like care packages. We just kept them in our cars. We could just hand them out whenever. So Civitas just really taught me the importance of like community service and giving back, and just a really gratifying experience to be able to like not just be thinking about myself, but being able to think of other people and like the community and making it a better place. So there's a lot of places that have convinced me of the importance and the value of being an involved citizen, and I know that I'll continue trying to create a better community and a healthier environment wherever I go. So the summer before senior year, I interned at the American River Parkway Foundation. The American River Parkway Foundation is in charge of maintaining the land around the parkway, the American River, which is 23 miles, so it's a big chunk of land. So the initial process began in May of my junior year, and I interviewed for the position. I was really nervous because this was my first job interview ever, but Civitas had prepared me for like what was to come. During speech and communications, upperclassmen interviewed sophomores in a mock interview, and this gave me the idea of the kinds of questions and answers I was supposed to give, and it also helped me like later when I did a job interview just outside of Civitas, I had an idea of what they were looking for. So although I started my interview off a little bit shaky, I was able to regain control, and at the end of the interview, I had the internship. In June, I started my internship, and it was over the summer, and it was mainly manual labor. I took care of like oak grove reforestation sites, and I cleared invasive species along the parkway along with 2 other interns. And when I was working along the parkway, I just noticed the amount of trash and debris that like littered the trails. It's everywhere, whether it's from like teenagers hanging out over the summer, or homeless people, or just like bikers throwing like water bottles down as they bike ride. So as my senior project, I decided to host a cleanup site for the Great American River Cleanup, which was this last September. Participating in the cleanup is a big contribution to the health of the parkway. Removing the debris prevents pollutants from entering the parkway, like harming the health of the parkway, so like harming wildlife, entering the watershed, harming just like the runners and the bikers on the parkway, and also just like in the mindset of like thinking globally and acting locally. It prevents like garbage from being washed downstream into our oceans. So I created posters. I talked to community members and organizations like the Boy Scouts of America, and I got other students involved, so I like talked to classes around school, and my cleanup site really like thrived. It was only a small site, and it got 30 people to show up, mainly teenagers, at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. So I would consider it like productive. And we collected over 500 pounds of trash and 400 pounds of recycling. And then I created a short video of my event.